It's funny how a perfect domain name can be quickly and easily turned into a business. Well, I guess the easy part might be up to debate. But, well, I want to get back to basics a little bit today, and I want to talk to you about expired domain names. Domain names that we look at each week on the show, but what the heck are expired domain names? These domains that the previous owner let expire for whatever reason, and then we look to scavenger through all those old domains in hopes of finding like buried treasure, which for many of us that look to expired domains, it is very much like a treasure hunt. We're looking for gold. We're going to look for gold today. But we're also going to just talk about some of the filters we use, where you can get expired domain names. And let me tell you a little bit about me, though, because it occurred to me like over the last year, quite a few people have kind of picked up on the show and things, which very much appreciate having you. And here in a second, I'm going to ask you to, make sure you comment in the chat and like and share the video. Actually, sharing, and it's live. Live's most important, so maybe share it. But subscribe to the channel. I appreciate that. So let me just say, Drew Wash is my name, and pretty much what I've been doing for the last, some number of years. I've spent nearly $1 million on expired domain names. And prior to expired domain names, I was developing web businesses. Some of them made millions and others not so much. But eventually along the way, I found out that expired domain names were like the secret sauce. It was the foundation that would allow me to do all the things I was doing up to that point. But now I was able to do it on like some premium real estate. So I can get into new industries and do new things that I've never done before, all due to these expired domains, which we're going to be looking at. And it's going to be a really good show. If you've never heard of expired domain names, this is going to be perfect for you because you're going to see what the heck these things are, how I've used them, probably see in the community and in the chat how others have even used them. So if you're joining me live, make sure you comment and chat in the chat, maybe share what project you're developing or have already developed, or just let us know where you're from. This is from Domain to Profit. And already I shared out on Twitter the craziness that is in front of me, the tangled wires and things. So I got to look over here for chat today. Lee, nice to see you there. You actually beat Michael in the comment. Very cool. Very much appreciate you being here. Michael, thanks for joining me as well. If you don't know, Lee, Michael, boom, they're number 1 and number 2. You want to beat the best, you got to be like on it like these guys. And Edward, thanks for joining me as well. I know a couple of you guys have been working on projects. If you're willing to share them in the chat, please do, because I'd love for others to see what's happening with the expired domains being developed out there. I've seen it on my Twitter feed, and it is extremely exciting. Extremely exciting to see the domain names being developed, these domains that we're going to be talking about today, both the ones through the expired auctions as well as some of the domain names that you just buy from other people. I've bought from numerous other people as well. So it's going to be good stuff. So how we're going to spend most of our time is we're going to be spending most of our time out on the web, out on screens like this over here. This is expireddomains.net. So expireddomains.net is where we're going to spend quite a bit of the time here. And expireddomains.net, here's the cool thing about this. It's free. Like, this is a free tool. Yours will look a little different until you customize it, because I'm super trendy like that, and I've customized it to be the dark background. So expireddomains.net is one of the top tools to find expired domain names. You can look through all kinds of different domain names here. You can see all these various tabs, buttons, all the different deleted.coms and other extensions, although we highly recommend we just concentrate on .coms. Others out there do make money in other domains, but .com is kind of the main thing. So where we spend a lot of our time is on the second tab here, the marketplace domains. So marketplace domains are essentially auctions. There's auctions. Some of them are current owners selling a domain name. But for the most part, we especially concentrate like here. This here, you'll see if the hover shows up on the screen. I don't believe it does, but that is for GoDaddy expired auctions. So chances are GoDaddy, and you know that they have all kinds of domain names expiring. They're a big place to get domain names. Well, when a big place that has a lot of domains registered through it, when those domains expire, they have to go somewhere. And GoDaddy, they actually want to make some money, go figure. So when those domains come, the person that lets them expire comes back up, they put it up for auction. They're out there to capitalize and make the maximum amount of money. So that's what you'll see here on that second tab. GoDaddy domains is one of the main ones that we spend time on. I've spent quite a bit of money over the years, not as much anymore. It used to be a much bigger deal when they had more inventory. But here with SnapName pre-release domains as well as NameJet pre-release, those two they still work with a registrar called Network Solutions. Network Solutions, if you're not in the domain know, they've let themselves go. They're not a very good registrar to work with, especially if you have multiple domains. And if you ever want to move it, forget about it. Anyhow. It takes numerous days to get a domain name out of there. It's not very friendly. But there's not too many domains that come up for expired over there on SnapNames or NameJet anymore, or at least not too many that we actually want to pay attention to. Another service that we want to talk about and look at is Dropcatch. You'll see that we've spent some time here. Let me pull up Dropcatch. What they actually do is they grab domain names as they are expiring, and when there's something called a drop, and while that's loading, I'll bring it up here. So there's something called a drop, and the drop is when a domain actually deletes. So it goes through a bunch of different stages. It goes from the expiration date, and then it actually will go through several phases until it actually drops. Now, a lot of domains, before they ever actually delete, will go to like GoDaddy's auctions or NameJet auctions or Snapjet auctions. Dropcatch is unique. This site up here is unique because what actually happens is the domain expires. It actually drops. So this would not be something you'd find on a GoDaddy domain or a Network Solutions registrar. These domains would be the ones that are kind of out in the wild, have a bunch of different registrars. And when those domains expire, Dropcatch just has servers just like firing away trying to get that domain name before anybody else, because it's like anyone can get it. When Dropcatch gets that domain name, in that case, it goes up for auction. So their entire model is to be the fastest, to get the domain names that people want, so that way they can put them up for auction. And there are other ways to actually grab domain names. You don't have to just use Dropcatch, for example. I actually, for the first time in, my goodness, I think it's been probably 5 years since I've picked up a dropped name through a catch service. But just recently, I think last week, I picked up a domain name through a back order on SnapNames, which let me pull up SnapNames up on the screen as well. SnapNames is one of the ones that we showed you over here. It's this here, but snapnames.com. And one of the nice things about, they are an aftermarket. So yes, they have some expired domains. They have other people trying to sell their domains. What I enjoy about it is if you search for a domain name that you know is taken or something you've had your eye on, you can then back order that domain name here, which chances are SnapNames doesn't always get it, but SnapNames just recently got a domain name. I bought a plural domain name on a GoDaddy auction. Not sharing it yet because I want to make sure I get it, but I bought a plural domain name at a GoDaddy auction for like $980 or something like that, around $900. And when I bought the plural, I put a back order on the singular because I know that I saw that it was expiring. And sure as Snap Names got me the singular for that $79 back order fee. So that was like super cool. I haven't had a back order happen that way. But the nice thing is very often, but by using that back order, it's basically creating a list of domains they're going to try to get for you. And the beauty of the back order is also they keep you up to date on the status of that domain name. So if you see a domain name's getting ready to expire, then you can, yes, pre-order it at Snap Names, back order at Snap Names. You can back order it at Dropcatch. You can back order it anywhere and everywhere that tries to catch drop domains, and the winner gets the spoils because they all charge a fee for their services, but only if you actually get the domain name, which, hey, so be it. So those aftermarkets, and what we're going to spend some time in is up here on expireddomains.net, and feel free to toss comments in the chat if you have a question. If I flip the screen or flash on something and you're like, hey, what the heck was that? How are you using that? Please, especially if you're viewing me live, I can answer those right now. If you're watching this on a restream, then just mention in the comments and I'll be able to answer at that point. You'll just be delayed, so that's okay. So over here under on expireddomains.net, marketplace domains, I'm going to spend my time primarily over on GoDaddy Expired. This is where I spend most of the time nowadays because they have the most inventory and I've had the most success, especially on the live show, bringing you great domain names in a short period of time. It's because they have so many domain names that are expiring. You can see right here, in fact, this list that they have for GoDaddy alone, is freaking close to 500,000 domain names. That's over about a week, I believe, that their data goes out. So 500,000 domains expiring over the course of a week with GoDaddy alone, and all these different registrars have a lot as well. So that's why we start with GoDaddy. And we don't want to look through, we can't possibly look through 500,000 domains on this show, unless we want it to be like nonstop. And I don't know why anybody would ever want to look at my face that long. I don't, does it, anyhow. I think, yeah, I'm okay with myself. I don't want to completely beat up. Okay. So what I'm pulling up here, and let me explain some of these filters. You see it almost weekly here, but I want to make sure I take a time to talk about this. We want to take that 500,000 domain names and condense it. We want to get it to the domain names that give us the most opportunity at finding a domain name we want, or a domain name that has value. So I'm getting rid of the numbers, I'm getting rid of the hyphens, and I'm concentrating on English words. So English 1 to 3 words, depending on where you are, your language. You may want to look at other languages, but I've had a lot of success with English, and I live in the US, so voila, I concentrate on English words. You can also do things like there's ways to make money from location domain names. Location domain names being domain names that are domains that, like, for example, let's see, I'm from Cincinnati. Cincinnati.com is a big Cincinnati domain name. Why? Because it's the city name. And of course, it's developed now, but it's developed because people knew the value of that domain name. I'm currently sitting in Las Vegas, and of course, just on the taxi ride in from the airport to my hotel, boom, you hear Vegas.com, Las Vegas, like all these Vegas domain names. They matter because they're the location. However, don't necessarily concentrate on those as well. But you could see if you get a great domain name, a great location, how you can benefit from that domain name. So those are the primary filters we set up on this screen. I go over to additional and I click on adding.com. So we want to make sure that we do add in .com. As you can see, there's all kinds of other extensions. You're here because you're looking to make money. You're here because you want some good advice, something that could possibly help you develop a business, find a good. Well, in that case, that advice is concentrate on .com. Concentrate on .com. You can make money elsewhere, but if you're not able to make money on a .com domain, then what the heck are you doing with other extensions? The people that I've seen make money on alternative extensions also know their stuff in .com. So I guess training wheels in some ways. .com is where you want to start. Outside of that, sure, maybe at some point. Little dinky coffee cups here. So what we want to do here is I want to spend some time looking through expired domain names. And then we'll talk about some businesses that we could possibly put up on the domain names. I zoomed in on these. The way that expireddomains.net makes their money is when you click on these domains, it has an affiliate link. They make a little bit of money. You should do that. It's a super awesome service for free, and it costs you nothing to do that. So we're just going to page down through some domains. If you see something you think is awesome, please mention it to me in the chat, and I can either let you know why I think it is no good, or we can talk about possibly developing it. Either the why or why not. Double Vision sounds like a good, that's a good kind of a brand domain name. Double Vision, there's no product that is like, if it was vision, sure, you could sell sunglasses or glasses, whatever else. Double Vision, that's kind of a common phrase. In that case, your play with that kind of domain name would be as an investor, buying it low as possible and then trying to sell it to somebody up, higher. Not really not really how I spend a lot of my time. I am definitely the domain developer guy. So I'm out to take a domain name, buy it as cheap as possible, and then develop that domain name, because selling it, if you can develop the abilities, if you can get those abilities to create something of value on a domain name, a website, a blog, anything like that, chances are you can make more money with a site than you can by just selling that domain name off. Spread it, and maybe a spreader or something. Office copiers. This is where I want to pull out one of the tools that I would recommend that you be with. There's several of them out there similar to this, but I recommend SpyFu primarily because it has the best free data. So it looks like everything's taking a little bit of time. Hopefully the stream goes out in a reasonable enough quality for you. I am on shared off, internet service, so we'll see how it goes. So the reason why I want to pull this up is I wanted to look at the keyword of office copiers. SpyFu is going to actually show us whether or not people are actually searching for that exact key phrase. So yes, there's still people searching for office copiers. I'm actually a little surprised by that, but I guess they need to still make copies. Making copies. Okay, so what we want to see on this is high numbers here, which shows that there's a lot of traffic available for you to compete for under that keyword. You own that keyword. That's the beauty. You want to own the keyword domain. And down here, you also want to see a pretty good number here. How much are people paying per click? And then you want to see a lot of people paying it. So right here, you'll see there's 6 advertisers paying, a few dollars per click to reach this small audience. But what does that tell us? That kind of tells us like, hey, if I could get a pretty good ranking for office copiers using the domain name officecopiers.freaking.com, yes, the main domain name for that keyword, then you are going to be able to kind of claim some of that advertising money, have the advertisers that are paying Google currently list their products and wares directly on your website without paying Google. Let's make sure this is available, because things I did not mention is expired domain names can be renewed. The old owner may very well claim it and pull it. But yeah, in 4 days, officecopiers.com goes up for auction, or that auction ends, I mean. So $237 is what that currently is. And when we look over on SpyFu, we can see There's 460 monthly searches available, kind of that traffic available. Paying in the $2 to $4 range. I never trust that because that's going to be like the max. But I could very well see it being a $2 per click for office copiers. Maybe worth $400 to $600 at least to if you're looking just to kind of use that keyword to develop a brand and make some money. It would be a simple directory is how I would pursue that. So I would say here's one of the things I kind of want to hit on. If you're not familiar with expired domain names, chances are you may know, like, you can buy it low and sell it high, because somebody out there that works in office copiers, for example, may want to purchase officecopiers.com. So you may be able to buy it for $400, $600 and find somebody that'll pay you $2,000, $3,000 for it or more, give or take. And that is 100% up to you being able to sell, you being able to find the person that's going to buy it for more than what you buy it for. There's an entire industry out there. Lots of people make good money doing exactly that with domains like officecopiers.com. However, what I've made my money off of and what I keep making my money from, even using the same domain. So let me, for example, use towing.com, one of my primary domains. Towing.com, I could have bought that. I bought it for $175,000. I could have taken that domain name and I could probably have turned around and maybe sold it for somebody for a couple $100,000. I mean, nowadays, I'm sure I could sell the domain name alone for, a good amount of money. But why would I do that? Like, why would I claim that money one time? Instead, I took that exact match, that towing.com keyworded domain, and then I got towing companies to pay to list on that domain name. The domain name has value for a reason. The reason why somebody's willing to pay $175,000 for the domain, or somebody's willing to pay significantly more, is because there's a market for that domain name. A lot of people would like to benefit from it. And when you get those exact keywords, who wants to benefit from it? The advertisers that are paying Google currently to list on Google for that keyword. So there's people that want to pay you for it. Now it's just a matter of getting a couple of them to pay you to list on your domain name. Simple business model. And So that's Office Copiers. I was checking out chat there for a moment, and which, if you're watching live, you'll see the chat happening. So that is officecopiers.com. I like the little domain name. I don't mess with products very often, but if you do like to sell a product or list companies that do sell products, Office Copiers might be for you. It's going to get a star, and who knows, it might actually get a bid from me. So one of the things you got to watch out for in all domain names, especially second market domains where you're buying from somebody else, domains you're buying from like a expired auction or whatnot, would be things like this here. I believe this is, so clubbing with one B. Isn't that clubbing? Isn't it two B's? I'll tell you right now. So clubbing, that's 7,500 with two B's, which I believe is correct. But if my spelling, 840. So I'm not 100% sure what the heck this is. Looks like it's, is that French? Maybe somebody in the chat can tell me if that's French or not. So basically, clubbing in the US, if it's two B's, would be going out to nightclubs, I would guess. I'm not sure what clubbing is, and it looks international outside of what I'd look for. So what you would have to look for, though, is you want to make sure that you don't see that, think it's something super awesome that you're interested in, like clubbing, which would be a pretty fun domain name to own. If you don't read that correctly, or if you get, like, for example, when you're looking here, that I in the middle there, the ing, that I could be a lowercase l. and it could have been like basically a typo domain name, fooling you into thinking it was something more valuable than what it is. So there you go. Anybody know French? I thought maybe somebody would know what the heck language that was in there, but I don't know it, so I don't know. I would expect others to necessarily do it, but I know we get quite a few international peeps out there. So, which I do want to say, international. I feel like a lot of, if English is not your first language, it is super important to kind of pay attention to what we look at on when we're going through these expired auctions, and notice what we avoid, what we go towards, because if English is not your primary language, what I've seen is a lot of common mistakes where words that they sound great together, but maybe there's a middle S, an S that doesn't really make sense where it is. For example, if this was secureswatch.com instead of secure watch, that kind of thing, where you might not catch it if you're not primarily a English speaker as your primary language. Smallbusinessmarketing.com. I usually don't go for the 3-worded domain names. This is awesome. I just noticed the missus is out here helping me out. She's saying she thinks it's Spanish. So thank you, sweetie. That is, she's keeping me in check. She's worried I'm going to buy something like small business marketing here, which I can't help but think that small business marketing deserves a bid from Drew, which it's definitely going to get, whether it's on the show or not. Here's what I'll do. I'll bring the camera up here because I have to log into my Godaddy account, and I'm just going to enter the auction. By that, I mean I'm going to place a bid knowing darn well that I'm not actually going to be able to win the auction. I would say small business auctions probably going to go at least small 4 figures. I doubt I will go up that high, but I will at least enter the auction, assuming you guys didn't bid it up all quickly. Okay, there we go. So I'm guessing I'll be outbid. Oh my dear goodness. GoDaddy sign-in is sometimes it's 20 screens long. Okay, here we go. Small business marketing, just tossing in a bid on that. Boom. And I'm outbid. So I figured I'd be outbid, but what that's going to allow me to do is follow along the auction a little more closely. That's going to end in 3 days pretty much. And so what would you do with small business marketing? A 3-worded domain name is not all that fantastic. It's a little on the, I really only include 3 words because I know sometimes you can get really good domain combinations or keyword combinations. Small business marketing, 3 words. I know 100% that people are searching for it, which I'm going to do right here to check those keywords. So there you go, right there. You can see, if I can zoom in, make it actually happen, 2,400 people, and that's monthly. So that's kind of that traffic that SpyFu is saying it feels is available, which it talks about that a little bit in this. If you kind of hover over the question mark, it talks to you about the volume is the volume that's actually, it feels it's for sale. Now, Google says there's about 4,900 searches for that keyword. And you might be thinking, well, why are the 2 numbers different? Google knows better than anybody else. And the answer is, it's because SpyFu is taking into consideration the fact that there's so many ads on top that a lot of that traffic's not going to make it to the organic search results. It's sad, but true, and that's kind of how it goes. And that's small business marketing. So if you want access to those 2,400 monthly searches with the exact match keyword domain, this could be a domain name for you. What would you do with it? Well, if I was developing out smallbusinessmarketing.com, I would likely take it and use it as a way to Well, list out small business marketing options. It might be a blog, which honestly, that'd probably be a pretty good blog domain for a guy like me, who this is all I do is help small businesses win the internet using premium domain names and websites. So you can blog out and make your money off the content. You can, and the way you would do that is you would write content, develop an audience, and then sell advertising space to the people that would want to target this for their products and services. You can build out a local small business marketing directory in some way, showing small business marketing services. 3 words, tough to say. You can do all kinds of little things where you're just sharing that domain name. You're taking this one big domain name and you're breaking it down amongst all the different advertisers or people that are just kind of like, hey, I'd love to buy that domain name. Maybe I'm not willing to pay $1,000 for it, but hey, Drew, if you give me away, I'll pay you $20 a month to show up in my area for small business marketing. And voila, now you have a $20 a month customer. You find a few more of those, and suddenly that $1,000 domain name that you put together some whatsy wig, what you see is what you get editor website on, is generating thousands of dollars a year or month, and voila, you look like a genius for grabbing a premium domain name and developing it out. That's pretty much all we do. Like, does that seem basic? To me, I get lost a little bit. I do this so often. It seems almost too good to be true. It seems so basic, but we're taking a great domain name and we're sharing it with other people that would love to own that domain name over and over and over again. What would we do with officecopiers.com, for example, this one that we had back over here? We share it with people that do stuff with office copiers. They would love to own that domain name. They're not going to. You're going to be the one that owns it instead, but they'd still love to benefit from it. And voila, you share it with them via some advertising or content. Oh, and that does deserve a little star as well. So beekeepingsupplies.com, I'm guessing that is some real keyword volume. So my gut is I would be a major pass on this domain name, but I check it in the keywords. This goes same for you. You may think something's brilliant, and wow, I was way wrong. I'm actually surprised by the numbers here. Still loading. You can see that 10,000 monthly searches for beekeeping supplies. Some adders paying probably $1 or so. That's what we're seeing down here. Let's see if this loads up top, because I want to see this middle section especially. We can start over on the questions, which these over here, people are asking, where do you buy beekeeping supplies? So there's not much volume over on that, but here's where we want to go back to is this middle section. It finally loaded here. Beekeeping supplies, 10,000 searches a month. That's pretty good. That's pretty boss. I can't believe I just said that. That's like something my daughter would say. Okay. Beekeeping supplies near me. Again, you would have the top domain name. Well, one of the top, beekeeping would be better, but beekeeping supplies is part of that. That's another 5,000 searches for that. Those are people saying, hey, okay, world, I want to find some beekeeping supplies. And you're like, hello, I just so happen to have this domain name, beekeeping supplies. Please buy some of my beekeeping. Like, you could sell freaking beekeeping supplies, or you can create a directory and have other people essentially selling those supplies for you. Let me click on that. Sometimes I'll build up a domain name and I'll love it, and the next thing you know, poof, it's not available. So again, $50 is what that one currently is. Ends in 5 days. So beekeeping supplies. Shane, I am going to have to bid on that one a little bit, but Shane being Domain Shane over on Twitter, a buddy out there who I know will want that because he actually does bees. And I bought his honey, beehouse.com honey. It's good stuff. So there you go. but you can't pass up on a domain name with 10,000 exact searches. Now, do those keyword searches actually, how much do they matter? How much, like, are you guaranteed traffic? No, you're not guaranteed any of it. You have to do the work to create the content, create where Google values showing you and customers actually want to come to. If you do not do that, you may not get any of that traffic. If you do it, if you create great content and you become the website for beekeeping supplies, Google will show you well, and you will be able to make a good amount of money. So there you go, beekeepingsupplies.com. And so I have plenty of domains that I've spent way too much money on based on the keyword profile, and then they did not do much. So results may vary, like videosoftware.com. I mentioned that one. That one's, I paid for it because it had a lot of search traffic. It was before I found SpyFu. SpyFu actually shows the search traffic low, which is what it actually is, where another tool that I used to use showed the search traffic high, and I based it on that high number. Mistakes were made. $20-some thousand was spent, and just another way that my wife was right. So she's watching, so I figured I'd suck up a little bit. Love you, sweetie. Okay, hookahs. Is that the way you spell that? Man, I feel like I have to. If that's how you spell that, that would be a giant domain name. No, it must not be. Or maybe that's not how you. Okay. I was thinking it was like the hookah bars. I was mistaken, at least based on the keyword volume that I'm seeing here. It's not that. But man, if that would have been a single keyword domain like that, you would have been seeing a domain name go for 6 figures easily. Hookahs spelled that way, I'm guessing. I don't know. I'm not sure what you would do with that. I'm going to pass on it. If it was not, I would probably be chatting with my wife and seeing if she wanted to get involved in a big domain purchase. And yes, she does get approval, especially over anything over 5 figure, or anything over high 4 figures. We get into 5 figures, she definitely has to be called in. I have to get the spousal approval, partly because she actually is kind of badass at this stuff anymore. She's played devil's advocate against me and my purchasing a domain so long that she knows her stuff. She could be out here buying domains as well. We'll have to turn this into a couple show. Okay, webcollaboration.com. Unless somebody's in love with, yeah, thank you. Let me put it up. Matt shared out. It is hookah with an H. Now that I see that on the screen, that makes perfect sense that it's hookah with an H. So all you would get if you bought that domain name would be people that can't spell like me. So thank you, Matt, for your research. Appreciate that. Web collaboration, unless somebody's passionate about it, I don't really care to mess with it. Web collaboration sounds like a great keyword, except for there's a zillion different products about there. We just came through this COVID stuff. Everybody went remote teams all over the place. I'm just exhausted with that kind of discussion. So passing it up. True Cannabis, it's more of a brand. Fix Healthcare, that's more of something we should do. Webkim, not sure what that would be. Image Tool, what a fun little generic domain name that is. All the way back to 97 is when that was registered. That's pretty crazy. Let's see if that's actually coming for auction. Close some windows. Signal. And while it does that, I'm just going to see if there's any exact match keywords while that loads. We'll go over here. That ends in 2 days. Imagetool.com, $205 is what it currently is. We can scroll down. You can see over here the estimated value, which is what we order that list by. You can see this little warning here. I'm sure it says something along the lines of, it's just a made-up value based on algorithms and stuff that really do not matter. So maybe it's worth $3,700. Maybe it's worth $20,000. Maybe it's worth $20. Pretty much need to develop your own intuition on that stuff. We will look down here because I figured we'd see some domains that have been sold. Image tools. So with the plural, which I would prefer the plural of this domain name, primarily imagetool.com. If you have an image tool and you've actually created software and you want to sell it, sure, that's a great domain name for you. Imagetools.com would be more of a list of image tools where you would sell people spots on it. Now, one of the ways that I would use a singular domain name, similar to like an imagetool.com, is how I plan on using I have detailer.com. So my plan for detailer.com is to list, do a directory of auto detailers, the guys that clean cars really way much more than whatever I would, but they detail a car. They really get all the dirt out and things like that. Well, detailers would be great for that kind of directory. But my thought is most detailers do not probably have a website. Most of them have handwritten signs and stuff. They're just a guy that gets into it, whatever the heck. It's a small business. So detailer.com, his business name, and a profile, basically a cheap website on a great domain name is what we're going to provide. That could be what you do with imagetool.com. So imagetool.com / my Adobe plugin, whatever, and it could be a profile for independent image tools on imagetool.com. You can do various things to play with that domain name. I do like the domain name. It's currently at $205, as you can see there. Ends in 2 days. It's probably going to go for $1,000 or so. Log report. Man, there's some interesting domains. I feel like we've spent quite a bit of time looking at this first page, and they keep drawing me back in. Okay. Cellular deals. If I'm not mistaken, while nobody calls them cellular anymore, that's kind of an old keyword, which actually, let me show you this cool tool. This is my buddy Peter Askew. He had, is that last week or 2 weeks ago? He enjoys the Google Trends tool, which let me pull this up. I linked Domain to Profit under the tools section, but don't really use it all that often. But what I wanted to show you is, if I could spell it, cellular. My goodness, cellular. And then we're just going to compare that to cell. One nice thing about trends is it shows you the trends of keywords in Google results. So what you can see here is, of course, cell, being a smaller word, more common nowadays, gets a lot more search volume. Although surprisingly, look at it's a downward trend over the last, well, that's only the last year. So let me expand this out to, let's just get crazy. We're just going to go all the way back to 2004. And you can see here, that keyword, the keyword cell, is actually significantly dying off. So you can imagine the keyword cellular, which is already very small compared to the keyword of cell, it's lost its favor. There's not much that's going to happen with that keyword. But I do know there's some great affiliations paid to cell phone companies that get leads and new accounts and things. So cellular deals may be a pretty good domain name for an affiliate type website. What are those? Okay, well, we don't actually talk about affiliate websites very often. It's actually one of the first ways that I made a lot of money on the internet, which was selling spy software, mostly through affiliate links. put up a website, put some information about various products, and then link to those products with a purchase link to where you get a commission every time somebody purchases something. There's all kinds of different tools. There's one like, for example, Commission Junction. So cj.com, I believe they have the 2-letter one domain, which is fantastic. cj.com, the one that we used to use, dagnabbit. There's a bunch of them. If you look for an affiliate links, ClickBank. I got it. Clickbank.com. That's another one that does affiliate links. And basically, you go find somebody that made a product that has to do with cellular stuff, and voila, you put it up there with an affiliate link. And in many cases, you can make some pretty good money doing affiliate. There's entire businesses, huge businesses that are ran off affiliate links. In fact, you probably find them when you search. Google loves these sites. I hate them. I think it shows that Google's lost their edge. But essentially what happens is people put like blog posts with links that take you to Amazon. Ever go to a site that's like, hey, here's some information about cellular devices or whatever, and you're looking for something specific, and it links you to, here's the top 3 products or something, and you click on it, goes to Amazon. You just clicked an affiliate link, and that person will make commission if you purchase that product. Voila, that's an affiliate site. You can do an Amazon affiliate site as well. So Commission Junction, clickbank.com, as well as Amazon affiliates are all options to do something like that. I do not mess with affiliate stuff very often anymore. I'm going to highlight Writer's Guide. I don't know what we do with that, but I don't do much with affiliate stuff anymore. There's a guy named Pat Flynn. Actually, I believe that if you subscribe to my channel, if you look on YouTube, it's one of the only channels that I subscribe to as a channel. Pat Flynn does a lot with affiliate stuff, building little websites, how to get traffic to your affiliates links and make money off it and so on. So worth possibly checking out there. I think that there's the nice thing is you put up a website, you maybe do a blog post about a product once a week or something. And okay, so it takes you 2 hours. If that 2 hours ends up turning into $700 or something over the course of a year, because a couple people have clicked it and found it, or even just $70, 2 hours, $35 an hour, and you just wrote a blog post. If you keep it topical, your website will actually start to really generate a good amount of traffic. Topical being content about a specific topic. For example, cellular deals. If you're always looking for deals, always sharing information, Google will start to rank you for good keywords. Next thing you know, you're pulling in search engine optimization traffic. You're pulling in people, finding you in blog posts or shared things. And who knows? $70 might be daily per blog post. Might be. There's a lot of people that make a lot of money off blogs. There's a reason they're big things. CopyGuard, call to meet. What? Rewards programs. So I hate to actually even show a domain name that is like possibly an exception to the rule. I don't know if it is or not actually. So this is, I just talked about a little bit ago, that idea that middle S. So rewards programs. Does it fit? What's it worth? Like, I think the most common phrase would be reward programs. Reward programs. Let's go to a keyword. Let's find out, because I am drawing a blank here. Either way, reward programs or reward programs, either way it is, which we'll have the answer here in a second. That domain name, reward programs, basically that's company put money into paying their customers, and I have to think there's money in it, but there's very little for the plural. When this middle box loads, we'll be able to see, down here. So you can see down here, rewards. There's some traffic for rewards. I'm guessing the primary one is for a reward. So that middle S, Luckily, in this case, it does have some value, but you can see here, well, actually, that auto-corrected this to the plural. Let me, guess that's probably C. So I'll pull this up, and you can see there's people searching for reward. I just searched for reward programs, and it is showing that most of the searches here are actually for rewards. I don't know. Maybe there's something there. Maybe there's not. I know that there's a lot of different websites that make money from credit card. Like, they basically write blog posts talking about how great the rewards of different cards are and comparing them. And then they pay major referral fees for people that get a credit card to that website. Same with all kinds of different programs where you are comparing rewards programs. That could be what you do at this website. $45 currently, ends in 4 days for a content writer or somebody who loves reward programs. There you go, possibly of interest. That's one of the rare times that a middle S doesn't seem to completely kill a domain name. Might actually be. I am almost out of coffee. I'm scared. Okay. Wow, we're still on our first 200 domains, and I feel like we're just now getting to this a little more of what I feel like it usually is. A bunch of domains that maybe look good, maybe don't look good. Some of them might be somebody's brand or name of a company that they once had. But really, for the most part, the domain name is too broad. It's too it's a brand name rather than a domain name we can count on being able to benefit from in the search engines. Military expert's kind of fun. Don't really know of a business that you put other than maybe consulting to I don't know, news networks. I don't have a clue on that. This is a fun domain name. Sometimes they're just fun. You can put money behind things that are fun. I mean, I know people that collect cartoon character NFT things and spend a lot of money. So if you're willing to do that, at least you can do is spend money on a domain name you like. At least you can put something on it. Did I just say that? Is that in my outside voice? I'm not a big NFT person. They'll become practical someday, and they will have NFTs. You'd have to Google it. I'm not here to talk NFTs. And I'm sure people out there are cussing me right now because people get passionate about it. But right now, you're just buying cartoon characters, being like, hey, it's worth a lot of money. And I'm like, yeah, but it's a cartoon character. I don't collect Pokemon cards. I think I saw somebody said that that their NFTs are like adult Pokemon cards, which I think that is exactly it. I've just never been into that kind of thing. Certainly not for thousands of dollars. Then again, I know that there's a lot of people making a ton of money on it, and I am not in that category. But I want to make my money off developing domain names, actually creating something. I love those artists. I do love the fact that artists get supported through those. So certainly support artists, support art, support those creators. But there are lots of creators out there, and digital artists are, yeah. Is it obvious that I'm just kind of rambling while I look through domains? Funny, we get to that second page, and man, it is not. We're not setting any records. Airline pilot training. Man, pilot training would be fun. That extra. I'm just not a big fan of it. Not a fan of the extra word. Farm review. See, like I don't know, this one up here, Life's Products. If that was Life Products, that'd be a fun domain name, a pretty darn good domain name with a lot of applications. Life's Products, that middle S will probably trick somebody into buying that domain name. In fact, let's see if it has bids. Unfortunately, if it has bids, it's for somebody that's probably making a mistake. They think that it is, if it ever loads, they think they're getting a good domain name. So you can see here, there's 14 people come here. There's 2 bidders, 3 bids, Life's Products, and I can almost guarantee that they will, unfortunately. Employee testing, look at that, 96. You can sometimes see, just based on the date that the domain name was originally registered, as to how passionate or how good of an idea. Sometimes they're ancient things that aren't needed anymore, like cellular services. But for this sake, employee.com is what a great domain name. It's a very digital product. And pull this up here. And I'm not sure, is it good? I'm not sure which domain name you were asking in the chat. Whether it's Life's Products. Life's Products is not a good domain name. That's a bad domain name. That middle S kills that domain. So what I'm looking at here, hopefully I can get that to pop up for you. Here we go. Is employeetesting.com. So what I love about this domain name, one, it's only $20 right now, ends in 3 days, but employeetesting.com. I just saw an article actually over on bbc.com that was talking about how nowadays there's like a rise in crazy intense job interview processes, and employee testing, we do it. We do employee testing in some way. Like, we have people go through some kind of step just to make sure they have the needed skills and things, are able to do work. So employee testing is a digital product. I love digital products. That means you put together a curriculum or some tests or something along those lines, and then you sell that curriculum, or you give access to small businesses or something to access it. All kinds of different things you can do with employee testing. I personally do not know what I would necessarily put domain name, but I do guarantee there is a good amount of money behind this. Let's test my guarantee though. Employee testing. The thing, I don't care if I'm an expert or not. You should test it out. Make sure yourself. We do not want to mistake here. So, and this is what I'm actually a little surprised by this. This is why you got to check it out. My gut was saying it's awesome. I still think the domain name. However, I'm now saying not as good as what I thought originally. There is 180 search kind of traffic available for you with this domain name, that exact match. And you'll look over here, most searches, they're like COVID tests, and COVID employee testing, employee drug testing, which is something you could certainly do on that domain name, the directory of places to get employees drug tested, if people still do that. I don't really know if that's a thing. There are advertisers, not a whole lot going on with the domain name. This is kind of what I was thinking, this employment assessment test. I still think that employee testing is a good domain name. Certainly worth a bid. In fact, I'm going to give it in right now and just spend it $25. Okay. Back to the list. What do you think testing? So I'm sorry, I'm looking over here to see the chat, asking where do we test it? I'm not sure if you're asking like where do we test the keyword. I tested over on spyfu.com. That is spyfu.com. Let me see if I can. So it's just literally that there, spyfu.com. Pardon my French or my English, my Spanish, whatever language. But the free tools allow you to have access to this data. You don't even have to do a paid account. However, do a paid account if you're really like, I will do a paid account, although I've been saying that for 2 months now. We're still paying their competitor, SEMrush, I think like $200 a month to use their stuff, and I use SpyFu more. Okay. Well, we are actually running up to an hour, so I will wrap this up. We've talked about expired domains today. We've talked about how you can use expireddomains.net as a free tool to look through, search for, filter domain names, so you can take hundreds of thousands of names every day, boil it down to the ones that give you the best opportunity, and then you can look to those domain names, click on the domain name, and auction. Those auctions do have some requirements. You'll need to make sure you enter them early. Don't wait to the last minute, because they will need you to verify your identity in some way to make sure you're an actual bidder. Sometimes that requires, anyhow, check out their requirements to bid, especially if you plan on going above a couple $1,000s. There's some requirements. Meant to mention earlier. Apologies for not mentioning that. Hopefully you don't find that out too late, because you would be left out in the cold. So we've talked about those expired domain auctions. I hope you get out there and find something that you love. And it's an auction, so there's a lot of people participating in them. I participate in them every single week. Sometimes there's live right here on the show, like I did it earlier, bidding on a couple of them. And then we look to buy them to develop them, which I hope you very much do as well. That's what we talk about here every single week on Domain to Profit, taking those domain names, turning them into business, making a profit, making some income, changing your life, giving you the opportunity to do what it is from wherever you want, because that's what I'm doing right now here in Las Vegas, back in Cincinnati next week. I will see you then. Take care.